Hello everybody and welcome back to my garage 0 to Hero. Alright, so it is Wednesday morning and yes, as you can see we had to go and basically rent one of these big box trailers once again because we've got a new project vehicle from a guy named Cyclone. So yes, I did the part early this morning and yeah, this is his new project vehicle for us to work on. So this is a Chevy El Camino. And as you can see, it has been in quite a bit of an accident. I'm not exactly sure what happened with this car, but it's definitely going to need a whole lot of body work, as well as some suspension work and mechanical work. So this is quite a bit of a big job. So he was kind enough to pay us up front. So we've got the money in our backpack over here. So this is basically $30,000, which is going to be hopefully enough money for us to yeah, fix this thing up completely and sort everything out. Alright, so here in the back of the trailer, we actually have got a couple of body panels, but not everything we need. So these are basically some fenders, some quarter panels, and some doors. So we actually need to get quite a bit of parts still for this thing. We do have the radiator support with a grill. So there we go. That is basically the parts that we've got so far. We still got to get quite a few more parts. I'm not sure if there's going to be any problems with regards to getting parts for this thing, but I'm quite confident we'll be able to get all the parts we need for this. But yes, this will be a project that we are going to tackle maybe a little bit later on. Yeah, not really today. We'll see. It all depends on the time we have left for today's episode. But yes, just to show you guys, I actually did start a little bit of a carport over here. So yeah, these are contractors. They are basically every second day on the days which I am not filming and recording. So they started to build the frame for our new carport. And yeah, this is going to hopefully be big enough for our two-post lift to fit comfortably and also maybe park another vehicle on the side. So yeah, there's a couple of things going to happen today. First of all, we are going to work on the little Lada over here because this is our customer vehicle. So we are going to continue stripping the suspension on this car today. So I did go ahead and do a little bit of sandblasting and I managed to get most of the rust, if not all of the rust, off the car. So it's definitely going to start looking a bit better once we get this thing painted up. Also removed all four of the wheels and tires, and I sort of put the spare tire back in the trunk. So we are going to see if we can rip the engine out as well and maybe just install the engine that we have got in the crate over there. So hopefully this engine will work quite well in this car and it's going to be nice and reliable. I did check the gearbox. The gearbox still looks fairly decent. So yeah, once the gearbox or the engine is replaced and then the suspension is fixed up, then we can start working on the bodywork and just getting everything sorted out. I don't think there's any dents on this thing. It's just the rust mostly, and then obviously we're going to have to replace the windscreen, and then yeah, we'll do some odd bits and pieces like the wiper blades and just get those things all sorted out. Didn't even check the wiper motor. Yeah, that's also a bit busted. So yeah, little things like that, and then we'll go ahead and check all the headlights and blinkers and all that. And we're also going to still have a look at finding a taillight for this thing. So yeah, there's also a little bit of a development. So our 1969 Chevy Impala, I actually ended up renting a little barn just down the road where you can store your vehicles in, because we kind of have got a lot of vehicles parked here in our yard, and yeah, it's just getting a little bit too much and out of control, and the potential for damage and theft is also there. So yeah, I've just decided to move that car over to a safe location because we're not really using it at the moment as much. But yes, you may also notice that we have got some different wheels on the Dodge Superbee over here. So these are actually the wheels of our Impala. So I decided to swap them around because I think these wheels actually suit the car very nice. Especially it's a little bit more of a muscle car rim than the ones we had on the car. So those wheels are actually now on the 69 Impala. So we are also going to go ahead and work on this thing a little bit today. I see our brake fluid reservoir is empty again. We might have to replace that. So yeah, there's a couple of things we need to do. So obviously I'm going to start with Hugo's daughter's car in the garage over here. So we are going to start digging into this thing and just see what it's all about and what parts we need to get for this car. So yeah, let's bring our toolbox a bit closer, and yeah, I think let's start with the engine first of all, because it's going to be easier to just get our suspension removed when the engine is out. So we're just going to come over here, we're going to unbolt all the transmission bolts. Let's get our fuel line removed. Right, so the fuel line, it still seems to be in very good condition. It actually looks brand new at this moment. So let's go around to the other side. Alright, so over on this side, we are also going to unbolt the 4 bolts on this transmission. There's the last one over there. We've got the starter bolt, we've got that, and we've also got the alternator wire. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, that's actually supposed to come out now. Let's just see. There we go. Alright, so that's the last bolt. Alright, so now we can pull this engine out. Alright, so this little engine, it's still running. It's definitely not the greatest, but we can definitely work on this and sort this out. So this is in fact a 1.8 liter, which is a little bit more powerful than the 1.5 liter that we currently have, that we are going to put in this car. But I'm sure that'll be fine. I mean, this car is going to be Hugo's daughter's car, so he doesn't want her to have a very fast car at all. So let's go ahead and also remove the radiator hose at the top. That is definitely going to need to be replaced. And we'll just do a little bit of an inspection on the lower hose as well. The radiator, I can tell, is very good still. Right, so this hose isn't too bad. It's not really necessary to replace, but we will, yeah, definitely replace the upper hose. Alright, so let's start with the suspension. So as you can see, the car is up on jack stand, so it is nice and safe to work under here. Because currently our lift is occupied by the Superbee. Alright, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to try and remove only all of the broken parts or stuff we need to replace. Obviously we are going to do brakes, so we're going to remove all 4 of the brake calipers, regardless of their condition. Alright, so there's the first one. We'll just set these down on the table over here. Alright, and then we're going to get our shock absorber removed. Alright, and there's a bolt at the top over there, or a nut rather. Right, so there's a broken shock absorber. So we'll get a new shock absorber as well. And that looks like it's everything on this side. Can't really see anything else wrong. The spring still looks good. The hub carrier looks good. The hub itself looks quite shiny still. Brake disc is fairly thick, so it's not really needed to repair. And over on this side as well, we've got a really nice brake disc, and also the hub looks fairly decent. Right, so what I can tell down here is the brake hose is definitely seen better days, but we are going to remove the caliper anyway, so this is coming off. And let's just inspect the caliper itself. It seems to be fairly good, so that's not a real problem. Alright, and what I did notice was we've got a bad hub carrier. So we are just going to remove this hub. The hub itself isn't too bad. It's still going to work quite a while. Right, so let's get under here. We're going to just undo the hub carrier, which we need to replace. Right, so there's the hub carrier free, and we're going to replace that. And just looking at the steering box, you can tell it's a little bit rusty, so we are going to replace that as well. So let's get this tie rod on this side removed. Right, so we can also inspect the tie rod. Yeah, the tie rod is actually on its last leg, so we might as well just replace both the tie rods. If this one is also similar condition, which it is, so we'll just get a new set of tie rods as well. And obviously our steering box, or steering, yeah, this is the steering rack. Yes, that is the steering rack, not the steering box. So this needs to be replaced as well. So that is something we're going to buy as well. Alright, so yeah, that is basically everything for the front end. So now we can move over to the rear over here. So once again, we are going to remove the brake calipers, all 4 of them. Alright, so let's get this one out. And this one actually doesn't look too bad. It still seems to be in decent condition. Let's just investigate this brake hose. Alright, that brake hose, yeah, it's not the best. Alright, but let's continue. At the back of the car here, we noticed in the last episode this lower control arm is the only one that is definitely a little bit rusty. So we are going to replace that. And let's just do a little bit of an investigation. We've still got good arms everywhere else. The upper one is good, this one is good, the rear one is good. So the only bad part over here would basically be this differential. So we're going to try and unbolt all of these differential bolts. Let's just go around this side as well. Right, so let's unbolt that one and also this. That should actually free this up. Right, last bolt, there we go. Right, so there's our differential. So we don't need to do anything fancy for this car, so just a normal 3.8 would do. I think this was a locked one, which is definitely, yeah, not necessary. Alright, so now let's just do this last brake caliper and quickly get this removed. Alright, so there we go. We have to replace this one as well. The brake pads, doesn't look too bad. This one has got some, yeah, that one is a little bit more worn. But these ones, they actually seem to be in very decent condition, but we might as well just replace all of them because you can't really just go and buy one brake pad. So we'll just get a full set of brake pads for this thing. And we are going to replace just the two calipers, the one for the rear left and the one for the front left. So it's basically the both left calipers we need to swap out or replace. And then, yeah, hopefully that'll sort out the brakes on this car, because, yeah, this car didn't have any brakes at all. So, yeah, that is it's definitely a good improvement. Another thing I would like to do is just rip out this gas tank. So this crusty old gas tank we need to replace. So we're just going to put this down over here as well. Alright, and then I think while I'm at it, we might as well just remove this crusty old wiper motor. So that needs to be replaced. Alright, let's set that down over there. And obviously this brake cylinder is also not looking very hot. So we're also going to remove this. Alright, so that is basically everything. I don't think there's anything else we need to take off now. I think all of the bad apples have been removed. And yeah, we can basically now move over to the next vehicle, which will be our Dodge Coronet or Superbee outside. So let's just put our wrench back in the box and then we will just head over that side. So I must say I'm actually quite excited for our new carport, because that means we can actually start working a little bit more comfortably. Because this corner, it actually works here, but it's just better for us to have it under a roof eventually. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, let's start at this corner. We are going to remove the wheel. We're going to check each corner separately. And yes, I did notice this brake disc was broken. So that is the reason why this car has got very bad brakes. And yeah, we are going to remove all of the calipers as well. So let's just set this one down. Alright, so this caliper actually doesn't look too bad. Definitely needs some brake pads as well. Alright, so now we're going to grab the screwdriver. Let's just get this broken brake disc off. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so that was a little bit stuck. Alright, so that is off. And let's see what else we can see. Alright, so this upper control arm, it's a bit rusty. Alright, so there it is. Yeah, everything is sort of getting stuck under here. Everything we unbolt just gets stuck somehow. But there we go, we've got that out. Alright, and shock absorber definitely looks a little bit tired. So let's just unbolt it at the top as well. Alright, so there's the old shock absorber from this corner. And I can clearly see that the main brake line is also a bit crusty, so we need to get that sorted out. So let's move over to the front left over here, or the driver's side. Let's get this wheel off. Alright, so here we've got a bad tie rod on this side. That shock absorber is not just only rusty, it's also bent. Alright, so there's our brake caliper. Alright, so that is off. Yeah, this brake caliper is a little bit shot. It's almost, yeah, about to pack up. That one is still fairly decent, so just need to replace the one that's a bit broken. Alright, let's just get our screwdriver again. Alright, and let's remove this brake disc. Alright, so that brake disc seems to be in fairly decent condition still, which is quite strange. Alright, but anyway, we are going to remove the hub. The hub is looking a little bit tired, so that is coming off. Alright, so there's our broken hub. And once again, we've got an upper control arm that is bad on this side. So we're just going to remove this one as well. Alright, and there's our other upper control arm. Alright, next up is this busted shock absorber. We'll just unbolt it over there, and we'll also just unbolt it at the top. And we should be able to get this out of here. Alright, and the last bad part that I can see here is this tie rod, which we are going to remove as well. Alright, so that tie rod, yeah, it's not bent, it's just a little bit crusty, but yeah, we will definitely replace that. And I think that is basically everything on this whole front suspension. So now I also want to remove this brake master cylinder because it's also looking a little bit tired. It's probably leaking. So we're going to have to get a new one of these. Alright, so there we go. That can just lay down over there. Alright, so as for the main brake line, we have to replace that, but we'll get it free in a moment once we undo the bolts on these brake hoses at the back. So once again, we will just start with this caliper back here. Right, so there's our back or rear caliper, which is also quite a bit bad. And I can tell the whole axle is actually a little bit shot. So we are going to have to unbolt all of these bolts. And I actually wanted to check another thing at the front before we continue. Alright, so the reason why this car is sitting a little bit, lowered at the front is because it's got lowered torsion bars, which I'm going to replace with stock ones, because I don't think this is going to be suitable for the type of car we are trying to build here. We are just going to try and make this thing a nice, decent cruiser, and not have it, resemble a drag car or anything like that. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take all of the parts off. So that brake disc is still fairly good. And looks like this wheel hub is also fairly decent. So we might as well take all of the good parts off while we are busy here. And that way we can see what is nearly on its way out anyway. Alright, so let's do this shock absorber on this side. Yeah, that's still fairly decent. We can probably reuse that again. Alright, and then we will start on this side as well. Basically with this shock absorber. Right, so there's that shock absorber, which is also still good. So we could definitely reuse the rear shocks. Alright, so this corner, let's quickly just unbolt this wheel. Alright, so back here we've got a decent looking brake caliper. There goes our main line. And we just try and track that down. Where did that go? That probably... there we go. Alright, so there's our main brake line. Yeah, that is also probably the reason why we are losing brakes, because that thing is completely toast. Alright, so let's continue with our corner over here. We've got the brake caliper that looks decent, but our brake disc is looking a little bit thin. So we are going to need our screwdriver to remove it. Alright, so just like that, and that'll probably pop off. Let's just come over here. We're going to grab our wrench again. Alright, this brake disc needs to be swapped or replaced. And let's check this hub, actually. This wheel hub. Alright. Alright, this wheel hub isn't too bad. I would say that is still usable. Alright, but the last thing we need to do is get our differential disconnected here. Alright, let's go around this side. And then we can finally undo the 4 bolts or the nuts and get our axle removed. Right, so there's our axle. Alright, so let's take off this differential. Let's just spin this around. We're going to come over here. Let's just unbolt the differential. Differential actually looks quite new. So that is actually a 3.2 lock differential, or no, it's just a normal 3.2. And then we've got a fairly decent handbrake cable by the looks of it. So that could still be reused. Alright, let's just put that down over there. And then, yeah, we are going to replace this rear axle as well, because that is also looking a little bit tired. Alright, so last but not least, what I want to do is remove the leaf springs over here. So just to give them a little bit of a check and see what the condition are of these. Right, so that one is still quite decent, so we can get that fitted again. Alright, come on, there we go. And there we go. Right, so let's do this one as well. Let's just inspect this leaf spring as well, if it's the same. And yes, it is. It actually looks very good. Alright, so we can actually just fit that again and bolt it down. And as for the spare tire in the back of this car, I haven't really checked this thing yet. It actually looks quite bad. I don't know if it's gonna be necessary for us to maybe just put a new tire on the rim. So yeah, we can just leave that for now. I must just not forget about it. Alright, but yes, I think we have stripped everything off of this thing's suspension that we needed to. So we are basically sorted with everything that I wanted to achieve with these two vehicles for today. So obviously I will do a little bit of cleanup off camera afterwards. So just go through all of the parts once again and see what can be used and what needs to be replaced. So what I think we can do now is I'm going to quickly bring those parts we got with Cyclone's truck or the El Camino. We are just going to bring these parts and just put them a little bit closer out of the way, because we need to get the trailer disconnected in order to get the El Camino itself offloaded from our ramp truck. Alright, so let's just put all of these parts nice and out of the way over there. Alright, so now we just need to get this trailer detached. So what I'll do is I will return this trailer a little bit later. I might as well just hook it up to the pickup truck, because it's a little bit of a mission towing a trailer with our ramp truck. I don't usually do it unless it's absolutely necessary, like it was today. So what I'm going to do next is we're going to try and get this El Camino off of our ramp truck once again. So let's just lower our ramps. And we're going to try and get this handbrake cable, or the handbrake. Yeah, it's a little bit mangled. But there we go. Handbrake is off. And we'll probably have to hop inside and just see if we can help it along a bit, just like this. Alright, and there goes the engine. The engine at the back just tipped out. Alright, so there we go. Let's just put that back in the bed for now. Alright, well, this is Cyclone's Chevy El Camino, and I don't think there's a single body panel on this thing that is not damaged. Well, I might stand corrected. The rear, actually, the tailgate doesn't look too bad. But yeah, that's also a little bit of damage over there. But yeah, that's not really the tailgate. That's more like the quarter panel. Right, and then engine bay, actually, it looks as if this engine might actually run. But yes, Cyclone actually has got a very special order for an engine that needs to go into this. So we're going to try and fulfill that requirement of his as well. As for wheels and tires, also he mentioned something about he wants a full set of wheels like these. which is the only one that's blown. So I take it this is the rim that he actually wants on this thing. So yeah, there's a fairly decent looking engine in this thing. And we also have got the spare engine, which I believe is the engine that came out of the truck originally. And then, yeah, he's got some odd bits and pieces over here. The old battery is here. Some broken headlights. Yeah, we might as well just dispose of all those things. Alright, but I think what we're going to do now is we are going to bring our toolbox a bit closer. Actually, I should just push the truck a little bit closer to the shop and try and get it, yeah, where we can at least start taking this thing apart, because there's going to be a lot of parts coming off this thing. So we're just going to push it, and we can probably go a little bit more. We've got 2 flat tires on this thing, which we need to address as well. Right, we're just going to push it this way. Alright, this is quite a heavy pickup truck. Alright, and let's push it this way a bit. Alright, I think this is a good spot. We'll be able to still move a vehicle in and out here if we need to. Alright, let's just get our handbrake set up for what it's worth. Yeah, this door is really badly mangled. Right, so let's grab our toolbox and start, yeah, getting into this thing and see where we need to start. So I was actually thinking, now that we've got a little bit of money again, I should maybe get myself some proper tools like a plasma cutter and maybe even a MIG welder. Because we are still rolling with the old faithful stick welder, and yeah, obviously our way of cutting things off are by means of an angle grinder. So I might actually go ahead and buy myself one of those fancy plasma cutters and just, yeah, upgrade it a little bit. But for now, let's just see how far we can get by means of unbolting parts on this thing. It's definitely, yeah, a little bit tricky once a vehicle is damaged as bad as this. So, yeah, if you just dig around, you'll be able to find everything. Alright, so there's our broken fender. So this is actually going straight to the scrapper. And I actually forgot to mention, I sold the little trailer as well. It was just kind of standing in the way, and I never really had too much use for it. Especially now that we've got our pickup truck that we can use for hauling stuff up and down. So yeah, there was really no use in keeping that little trailer around. I actually think this fender still looks good. That is probably why Cyclone also just gave us the left fender. Because the front right fender might actually still work. We just need to go through it with a little bit of Bondo. Alright, so as for this mangled door, I believe these are the bolts. Alright, so that is going to the scrapper. We'll probably just load everything on our pickup truck and then just take it to Steve's pawn shop, which is actually a place that I found when I moved over here. So that is actually a guy that takes all of your scrap parts, and he pays you a little bit more money than you would normally get by just trashing the parts. So for that reason, we are going to start taking our parts over to Steve's pawn shop from now on. Alright, so let's first of all get this trailer hook removed. Alright, so we'll just put that one side. The rear bumper, we should be able to get it off. Alright, so now I'm getting a little bit of an idea what's happening underneath the truck. We've got some bad frame rails as well. So we're going to have to address that as well. So that's, yeah, hopefully going to be enough money that we charged. This rear bumper actually doesn't look too bad. So as I say, yeah, hopefully we charged him enough money to get all the parts we need and to make a little bit of a profit. We might have to actually order some new parts if we can't find second-hand ones, but we'll try our best and see if we can get some used parts rather. It's going to be a little bit cheaper. Maybe from the junkyard. I have to go and see the old man Ray at the junkyard again. Just see what he's got around. Alright, so I think this side we can just try and remove this door still. Alright, so let's just unbolt this. And I can notice the firewall is also a bit rusty. I think actually all of the panels are a bit rusty on this car. Alright, so there's our other mangled door that can go to the scrap. And next up, we are just going to grab our screwdriver. Let's just see, because we've got a daylight over here that doesn't look too bad. Might save us a little bit of money if we can reuse some parts. Although we do have a taillight on the replacement panel there as well. Same on this one, we've got both the taillights that are still in good condition. Alright, so let's see what else we can do with our screwdriver. We need to come over here and just remove this part. Yeah, I think that is just the insert grill part. Alright, so that is mangled quite badly. But we already have got a replacement for that. And there's supposed to be another screw somewhere. I believe that's the one. Right, so that is for our front grill, or the front panel rather. And then we're going to need our wrench again for the front bumper. Just don't know if we're going to be able to get the bolts out. Let's just see where this other bolt is. That looks like it. Right, so there's our crusty old front bumper as well. Very badly damaged. Alright, so hopefully we can find that part as well. And yeah, let's just undo this battery. This looks like a brand new battery. I think Cyclone probably replaced the battery in this thing. So there we go. That's yeah, that's a very good battery actually. Still brand new. Alright, so now looking at this thing, I don't think there's anything that can still be unbolted. We could probably also just remove the stuff in the back of the truck here. So there's the old engine. And we'll just chuck everything on the floor next to the truck here. And there's the headlight. It's getting a little bit stuck. Okay, there we go. Alright, so next up we are going to probably start cutting. So we are going to need our angle grinder. And let's just grab our cutting discs. Alright, so there's a full box of cutting discs, and I think we still have one left in this box. Alright, so let's start on this quarter panel. So we're gonna just cut all of the welds, hopefully not unnecessarily. So we've got quite a bit of cutting work to do here. I actually think when I run out of cutting discs, I'm just going to go ahead and buy myself the plasma cutter. Alright, so there's the 1/4 panel. Very badly mangled. Okay, what am I doing? I should actually just put it together with the rest of the mangled parts over there. Alright, so let's have a look at this inner bed box. I'm not sure exactly what this is called, but it's probably like the inner fender or the inner panel. So we need to get two of those, one for the left and right, because obviously we only got the outer skin. So that is something we're going to have to try and source. And I'm not too sure if this is going to come off easily. We're just going to cut all of the relevant welds off. Alright, and we are starting to use the last box of cutting discs. Alright, so let's just put that over there. Alright, I wonder if this is going to come off like this. I'm sure it will. We just need to cut the rest of the outer skin panels off first, probably. And there's another cut over there and also there. And we probably missed some, so let's just get another cutting disc. Alright, so let's do a little bit of a check here. What did we miss? Yeah, there's a couple of welds still, probably a little bit of hidden welds. But that is our outer skin as well as the inner panel that is free. Now this one might actually be able to come straight if we knock it with a hammer, but yeah, I don't know. We're just gonna see. It all depends if we are going to be able to find the parts. Right, so there's the other quarter panel. It's definitely seen much better days. Alright, so that is basically most of the stuff now cut off the truck. So I think this roof, we should be able to get the roof off as well. Alright, so there's our roof. We need to replace that for sure. That is also quite badly mangled. And now it's basically just the parts that are still attached to the suspension that we need to remove. Right, so we've got to basically figure this out now. There's going to be a lot of stuff we cut off, and probably a lot of stuff we're going to cut off unnecessarily, but that's also fine. Alright, so there's the rear panel. I think might actually bang out with the hammer. It doesn't look like it, but it actually looks like it's not damaged. But we'll just double check with that as well. Alright, so once again we're going to need another cutting disc. So we've got some cutting discs left, 3 of them. Alright, so there's the cutting disc. Alright, so let's have a look at this thing now. I'm not too sure how this bed is attached, but I'm kind of guessing these are some of the welds related to that, so we'll just cut them all off. There should be some more welds somewhere over here. Alright, let's just have a look at it from this angle. Alright, this is probably going to come off with the fuel tank now, which is also fine. Yeah, that's actually for our rear panel over here. I don't think that is relevant to the actual floor of the truck bed. This frame brace actually still looks good. We'll just double check on that. Alright, and another cutting disc. Alright, let's see what else we can figure out here. This is definitely a little bit tricky, especially if the thing is a little bit bashed up and mangled like this. So there's a weld, but that's probably on the frame rail. Alright, well, no idea where this thing is still attached, but we probably still need to figure out where the other weld is we need to cut on this. It might actually be over here. No, I think we got that one already. Alright, middle frame brace, that is already broken off. So let's just get this removed. Alright, so the frame brace itself doesn't look too bad. We've got a good shock and we've got a bad shock on this side. Alright, well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably have to mess around with this a bit and see how we can get this off. So yeah, let's start maybe on the front end. We're going to quickly cut off this radiator support. Alright. And there's probably another weld over here. Okay, that is fairly decent. Well, nothing on this is decent, but yeah, the way that it came off was quite easy. Right, so there's the radiator support. And then, yeah, I think in order to get the firewall removed, we'll probably have to dig into this thing a little bit deeper and remove suspension. And maybe try and get this thing up on some jack stands as well. But now, currently, our jack stands are all in use. And we also have got the Superbee on our lift. So we're not going to really be able to do that just yet. So let's just see. There's a rocker panel that can come off. There's probably going to be tons of welds on the inside. Alright, so there's the rocker panel for this side, which actually might be fixable. I'm not too sure. We'll have to check that out. Alright, and then, yeah, I'm still a little bit baffled by this, this bed floor. It doesn't seem like it wants to come off. Wait a minute. What do you know? That was the last weld we missed. Alright, so we've got it off. Have to inspect this thing a little bit properly, but yeah, you can obviously see there's quite a big dent over there. So yeah, this is going to the bad pile. We'll just chuck it over here. All right, and let's have a look. And we are out of cutting disc again. I think we still have a cutting disc. No, we do not. Not in that box. All right, so it looks like our cutting discs are all finished. That is quite a bit of a bummer. So I'm gonna have to probably jump in the truck quickly and head over to the shop and get some more cutting discs. Wait a second. Yeah, there's... Okay, now that one is also empty. Alright, so we're going to have to go and buy some more cutting discs. But I think, yeah, as I said, let's rather just go and buy the plasma cutter. I think it's going to be worth it. So yeah, let's maybe also hook up to the trailer quickly and get this dropped off over at Little Lewis's shop where we rented it from. Obviously forget about the glow plugs in this thing. Alright, and there we go. She fires up quite easily. So this truck is very reliable. Well, engine wise, doesn't have any issues whatsoever. Alright, let's get this trailer hooked up more or less. Just gonna pull it into position. Alright, and we are basically ready to head off, and I think this leaf spring on this side just decided to pack up, because as soon as I hooked up the trailer it just went very far down compared to the opposite side over here. So yeah, we've got a bad leaf spring on this truck now we need to sort out, but yeah, that is not really a big problem at the moment. We will still be able to drive. We just have to take it a bit easy with regards to loading stuff. Alright, but yes, we are going to head over to Little Lewis's store. We're going to buy ourselves a plasma cutter, as well as, yeah, maybe see what other fancy tools he's got over there. Alright, so the trailer is back here, and we are just going to push it around the corner here. It should be fine if we just leave it on this side. I know he usually just parks his trailers around the back there, but I think, yeah, this should do over there, so that is perfect. Alright, let's quickly go inside the shop, and I'm going to spend a little bit of money and upgrade my tools a bit. Alright, and there we are. So I spent a little bit of money, so I decided to also get some new leaf springs for our truck over here, because clearly these leaf springs are going to pack up very soon. This one is already a little bit shot on the other side, obviously. We also got ourselves a brand new MIG welder. So how this works is we also have to buy the wire spool, and we can get it fitted like that. And then on the other side we've got some gas tanks. So we've got these gas tanks, and they also just mount onto the MIG welder like that. And yeah, this is gonna take a little bit longer before we run out of electrode, or obviously wire from the spool. And we also got ourselves this very nifty little plasma cutter in green. So yeah, we are going to head back to our shop. We're going to continue cutting that El Camino up, and I think we should be able to get this thing stripped by the end of the episode. Alright, so let's get back to the shop. Alright, and we are back at the shop, and I already put the MIG welder inside the garage back there. So yeah, we'll probably use that once we start putting this thing back together. So I think this was a good call, because now we no longer need to buy cutting discs. We can just carry on and use our plasma cutter, which means we'll be able to just put this cutting disc, or this grinding disc, or polishing disc, whatever you'd like to call it, back onto our angle grinder. And that is where it's going to stay from now on. So this is our fancy new plasma cutter, and I'm about to try it. So we've got a couple of welds to still cut loose over here. We are going to have to, as I said, jack this thing up on the front at least. So let's maybe give that a shot. Alright, so we're going to try it under this floor pan, which is very rusty. Alright, so there we go. That should do the trick. And now we can grab our toolbox, or the wrench from our toolbox rather. And let's unbolt this cross member and see if it's going to be as easy as I think it is. Alright, so we obviously need to remove the bolts on the engine. Alright, so this one popped off already, so that means we did cut all of the welds. And then over here we probably need to remove the bolt from the earth cable for that to come off. And there we go, so that panel is also gone. Alright, so the bolts on the engine can actually just stay, because we don't need to remove the cross member just yet. It actually still looks fine. It might have a little bit of damage, I'm not too sure. We'll just have to double check that for sure. Alright, but now we can also continue with our plasma cutter and see if we can get this firewall cut off once and for all. And we'll also just do this rocker panel, which also needs to come off. There should be a weld here somewhere, which is probably broken off. I don't know. We'll just get a little bit creative here and see if we can track it down. Alright, so it might actually just be that one. Alright, let's just check it again. Yeah, that rocker panel is definitely playing a little bit of hard to get. But I will figure it out. I mean, the other one came off without a problem. Right, but yes, firewall. We need to cut these welds off here as well. And I think I spot a weld on this side. It's just below here. There we go, that is the one, and there's another one. Alright, so for our firewall to come off, we have to unbolt the master cylinder, or actually just the main brake line. And then that will free up our firewall, which is now definitely in need of urgently replacement. Alright, so yeah, that is definitely a bad part. There might be some good parts on here. I don't know if the cluster is still working. Steering column, actually, yeah, the steering wheel looks fairly decent. Might actually be usable still. The steering column itself might still be good as well. Pedals, wiper motor, and the brake master cylinder also doesn't look too bad. So I will get those parts removed, maybe off camera rather. But yes, this thing is it's stripped quite far now. We've got to obviously replace the floor pan, but I do not want to go that far in terms of cutting this thing up further, because it might make the whole thing a little bit unstable. So at the moment we can still at least push this thing around and move it out of the way. And I will definitely try and figure out what is cooking with this rocker panel. So there's quite a bit of stuff we can still carry on with. Like example, we can start stripping wheels and tires off, suspension work. So I think that is probably what we're going to continue with now. So let's grab our wrench over here, and look, that is my cell phone ringing. Alright, so let's quickly see who this could be. Alright, so that was a phone call from Alan. So yeah, I actually haven't heard from him in quite a while. So he once again has got a customer vehicle that needs a little bit of our attention. So apparently this job is a little bit different than the work we usually get. So let's make our way over there and go and have a look at this car. So once again, it's parked in the back of Alan's yard. So we're just going to head over there and see what this job is all about. Alright, so we are here at Alan's house once again. And I actually noticed there's a new house that was built just a little further down the road here. It's definitely a new property. Yeah, they actually put that house up very quickly. So I wonder what's the story with that house and who's the owner. But yeah, well, I think Alan would probably tell us about it if he knows anything, because Alan is still away on holiday. But yes, we are going to just take a walk around the back, because we've got the customer vehicle over there. So what this is apparently it's a 1974 Dodge Challenger by the looks of it. It's got some aftermarket wheels. It's got a scooped hood. It's even got this little ducktail on the back. So this thing is very nice and clean. And yes, there is the money as they promised. Alright, so the owner of this vehicle's name is Richard, which apparently is the previous owner of this house before Alan bought it. And yeah, Richard used to own the very same shop that Alan actually has at the moment. So yeah, that is quite interesting that the guy that used to own the shop sends his car over to Alan's for some work. So you may ask, what work do we need to do to this thing? So believe it or not, this guy Richard, he actually dislikes the modifications on this car, such as the the turbocharged engine, as well as the lowered suspension and the low profile wheels and tires. He wants to convert this thing into a little bit more of a muscle car with regards to more classic style. So that means getting rid of the aftermarket wheels, ripping this engine out and putting in a normal motor without turbochargers. So yeah, this is going to be quite a bit of a job for us. I don't know if we just have to convert this engine into a normal engine. I mean, in other words, a normal aspirated engine, or if we're going to have to build or source a brand new engine for it. So yeah, we are definitely going to be in touch with Richard a little bit more. He actually gave me his number over the phone as well when I spoke to Alan. So we've got Richard's new number as well, and he's also going to be a contact for more work. So he actually said that this is a little bit of a test, and he's gonna maybe give us a couple more jobs if we are going to execute this one correctly. So yeah, this thing has been quite a bit modified, and everything is actually very nice and decently done on this car. So the only thing that I'm struggling to get my head around now is, why would somebody buy a car that's modified and want to convert it back to stock? That is yeah, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. But yeah, I think I'm going to face a little bit of a challenge getting this Challenger loaded up onto the back of my ramp truck, because this thing is super low. So yeah, I might have to improvise and come and pick this thing up a little bit later. I'll maybe rather return to my shop and call for a taxi so that I can drive this car back to my shop and try and sort it out for Richard like that. So yeah, but I think we are also going to end the episode right over here. So thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate every view, every like. And also, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. I will appreciate it very much. But yes, until the next time, cheerio.